of thin dead cells, and yes, packed with keratin, making them very hard. Our nails are flat. When you look at your fingers and you look at that part, our nails are flat, which is a benefit for using the fingers. So it gives us that ability for sensitive fingertips, being able to like pick up something, use a tool, write, all these different things. Like we showed in the video, what's termed the free edge is anything over the fingertip. The nail body is what we can see. The nail root is just underneath with its connection to the matrix. Now, some other terms that come along. A nail fold. If you kind of look, you can kind of see that running around your nail. It's usually what kind of, a lot of times you might need to soften it up and pinch, pinch a little bit of it off, clean it up, okay? The nail groove that's present, you can kind of feel that also if you run along the base near the cuticle. The nail bed, we don't really get to see that, okay? You can kind of just get an idea of where it is. But that hyponychium, you can definitely identify on your fingers. Nail matrix, once again, the key here, matrix and blood supply. All right? They're not present, they're not going to grow. Then, of course, our lunula, which, yes, can be important in health. All right? Nails as a whole. All right? The cuticle, usually dead skin, which is why we can pinch some of it off, clean it up a little bit. Do not overdo that. Okay? Don't overdo cutting those cuticles back, all right, which is something we tend to have happen if we're, like working or making our nails done. So now, what is our physiology of this system? All right, so if we've looked at all these parts that are in it, what these parts that are going to do, what is the goal of having this system? I'll go back to saying, once again, our first line of defense. It is our first line of defense to the outside environment. It helps with protection against abrasion, sloughing off of bacteria, because as the cells slough off, hopefully any harmful bacteria go with it. It helps with protection against microorganisms and other foreign substances. Do you guys remember the video from the other day? And it showed like the little bacteria bouncing off the skin. Okay, that's what we're doing, hopefully. Glandular secretions help with making the skin be not habitable. In other words, bacteriostatic, not friendly to bacteria, okay? Because we create the acid mantle. Melanin protects us against UV. Hair on the head is not only insulating, but protecting us from like sunburn and so forth, abrasion that can happen. Like I was saying earlier, the eyebrows, their job, keep out sweat. Eyelashes, protect the eye as a whole. Hair in the nose and ear against dust and bugs and other things that might try to enter. Nails protect the end of our digits, and they are considered part of self-defense. And we're waterproof. Another part that comes along with what the skin, the system will do, it allows for certain sensations. When you get into part 2, you're going to start talking about the senses. The 5, well, there's 6 now. When I was growing up, there were 5. Okay, but there are now 6 senses. All right, let's think about this. Sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch, equilibrium. Our ability to be upright. In our ears, we have a place in our ears that has air, which helps us with equilibrium, and then there's a structure with fluid. And as things move, the fluid helps with equilibrium. So we now have 6 senses.
Because I might say people have vertigo.
Yes. Vertigo. People who have a lot of trouble with dizziness, or they may have trouble maintaining their upright stance. Okay? Some people, it's called vertigo. It's an actual problem. In part 2, hopefully your professor will teach you about that. It comes along with the fluid that is in the ear and how it affects structures in the ear. It can be very debilitating for some people. So if we're thinking about our senses, okay, the skin is a general sense, but the information, because that's what happens with a sense, okay, sensory information, it's picking up stuff like pressure. Like as you sit right now, you've got the pressure from the chair against you. It can pick up temperature, how hot or cold the environment around you is. Pain, which is important to life. Okay, we've got those receptors in the skin. The heat, the cold, touch, whether it's something that you bump into or, you know, you accidentally bump into, it's got these receptors to help pick up that information. And then movement of the hairs. Okay, once again, those hairs playing a part in helping us pick up on sensations, like the prickling on the back of our neck. Now, a big contributor that the skin does to the body's homeostasis, thermoregulation. We are extremely dependent on our skin to have that ability to sweat. Move this heat out of the body. So, radiate, because radiate means the heat that's moving out, all right? When we sweat, it's called evaporative cooling. What is that term? Evaporative. To evaporate. Because when we sweat, well, let me think here for a second. When we sweat, we do a lot of this. Right? Okay? If you can, leave it alone. I know it's hard. It's hard. Especially like, you know, if you're dripping and everything. If you are, just gently pat. Because what you want to do is leave just a little bit. Because in the evaporation, it cools. And that means that the blood coming up underneath has a chance to cool. Because even as it's pushing outward to push that heat out, okay, it's trying to cool, and if we help it, we can help it cool, which helps our internal organs, which is good, So it's going to be up to, now, arterioles, meaning the capillary beds, okay? It's going to be up to them in the skin to be able to change in their diameter, meaning that they're going to dilate so that more blood can move through and push the sweat out. This is something extremely important that needs to happen. Otherwise, bodies would overheat. If they overheat, the conditions in our body no longer are healthy for proteins. And if you remember, proteins do all the work. We denature those proteins, they can't work anymore. So by having the ability for these vessels under the skin to dilate, blood flow can increase, heat can leave. Very important to the homeostasis of our bodies. Something else that is very important to the homeostasis of our bodies: vitamin D production. Any of you in here take a vitamin D? Did your doctor say you might be deficient in it, or did you just think that you might need it and start taking it? Your doctor. Check one. Check one. Take the vitamin D. Did your doctor prescribe it, or was it something?
Yeah.
Your doctor? Do you happen to know why?
Oh, because I had broke a bone. So
Okay. All right. So you've broken a bone.
She said I had low iron, so I had to take it.
Okay. Now, I'll bet you that right now, because it's the time at which, now granted, yay, do we change time this weekend? Sunday? Okay. I'm so glad. Okay. Because the short days, don't like them. All right. When we have those short days, less sunlight, meaning we're not getting that exposure to the sunlight for our bodies to go through the process that's needed for this vitamin D. All right. And it's another reason that a lot of our products that we purchase to eat, you may see enriched with vitamin D. Okay. Vitamin D, once we consume it, once we have it in the body, and in the presence of stuff with our liver and the sun, it almost acts like, well, actually, they call it a hormone in the body. Now, let me kind of explain that. Now, and Jaquan, can I use your broken bone? Okay. All right. He broke a bone. And in breaking a bone, we haven't gotten to this yet. Okay. Because we haven't gotten to the skeletal system. Okay. Anybody else in here ever broke a bone? Okay. Not fun. All right. That bone has to have the ability to heal, and it does, because it has a blood supply, and unlike what a lot of people think about bone, meaning once we have it, that's